Now, some of you, when you see that, and then of course when you see me with my lovely tutu hat on, and then you see this lovely picture of a tutu back here, my daughter's tutu from a few years back, I'm sure at least the women in the class, and who knows, maybe some of the men, have fond memories of childhood, dressing up, going to the dance, going to the recital in their beautiful tutus, and I have to admit, I'm a little tempted. But we'll leave that for another day in terms of my wearing a tutu. What I will tell you, though, is that the dancing you just saw to that beautiful Polish wedding music, that Mazurka, is not actually what you may have thought you saw and heard. Actually, what I did was I danced with my daughter, and I'm not positive whether we even really had music or not. We may not have had music. We don't really need music to do our dancing. But I think we probably had music. I do know that whatever music we were dancing to, if we were dancing to music at all, it was not the music that you heard. In fact, if it was music, as I recall, it was some sort of rock and roll tune we were dancing to. And then afterwards, I was fiddling around with the camera and doing other things for one of my classes here at the university. I decided, why not try and dub in completely different music? I took this classical Mazurka and dubbed it in and see if I can have it sort of match the movements of Laura and Emerson. And I think I was able to do it fairly successfully. It sort of looks like we're dancing. And I can assure you, if the timing is off a little bit, while that may be the way I dance, I just like to move a lot, I may not have any coordination, Laura actually can dance pretty well. So what you saw there was a fraud. It was a fraud. Now, whether one could actually sue over this fraud is another matter. You'd have to prove all of the 6 elements: material misrepresentation of fact, knowingly made, intended to induce reliance, justifiable reliance, damages, and causation. But if you could show all of those, somehow you were harmed by your reliance upon the fact that Emerson and his daughter were dancing to a Mazurka, you could win on a claim of fraud, and I wouldn't have to say anything to you. The reason for that is a misrepresentation can be through conduct, not necessarily through words. So, for instance, when a party patches over a cracked engine block, or sets back the odometer, or paints rotten beams, or does other things to give a misrepresentation of facts, even though it's all done through pictures, even though it's all done through diagrams or blueprints or conduct, not actual words, that can still be a misrepresentation of fact. So somehow, if my dubbing totally different music in to make you think we were dancing to classical wedding music rather than something totally different, if somehow that caused you harm, and I intended for you to rely upon that false dubbing, etc., then you could sue and win for fraud. And the whole idea is, if I bring it home to you with this visual representation, perhaps now you'll remember it a lot more than simply saying, oh, resetting an odometer or painting over a cracked engine block really answers this question for you. If you can remember Emerson and his daughter doing their strange little dancing, that might help you remember this element of fraud, misrepresentation, whether by words or by conduct.